Okay, this is a box of red oxide, iron oxide, of the sort that used to mix glazes for pottery. Where it is, it's of a pretty good quality for the purposes I'll be using it for. I bought some of my own. I'm a little curious, if nothing else, just in the appearance of it, and to compare the two. I'll probably try both. The difference in cost is really not much. You might get this stuff a little bit cheaper. I'm going to take a spoonful of this and just a little bit, level spoon, and pour it on a piece of paper here just to be able to see the color. Spread it out a little bit. That pile's going to be there on the left. And put this back on this shelf with all the other chemicals. This is a bag I just bought. Same thing, red iron oxide, Fe203. Curious to see mostly the difference in color. I don't believe it makes a whole lot of difference for my purposes here. This bag, I just got it today. It's still sealed. So I'm going to cut that open real quick. Now this has a tearing slip, but I've had mixed results doing it, so I prefer to use the scissors. Much more even cut. Open this up. Yeah, it looks pretty much the same. Basically, it's a bag of rust. Grab my spoon here. A little bit of residue from the other stuff, but I'm not worried about contaminating this. And get a nice level. A spoonful of that. And put this right next door. Spread it out a little bit. Close this bag up. Keep it from getting wet. Well, it's not very humid today. Okay, that's the stuff. This is the pottery grade, very, very fine powder. This is the stuff I just bought, also very, very fine powder. It's probably not showing up very well on the camera here, but by my view, these are color-wise identical. So if you could be making this stuff, we'll get into what this is for later. Buy whatever's cheaper. The Alpha Chemicals is what this is, which may be the same outfit that produced what I'm seeing over in that Tupperware container or whatever it is. These are so much alike, I'm going to assume that it's the same stuff. So, at the risk of contaminating my bag here, I'm just going to dump this whole bit into the bag here. Hopefully not making a big mess. And just pour it in. Now this stuff, it's rust. It's not known to be toxic. especially. Well, seal this bag up. These Ziploc things, I don't like them. Well, I'm going to transfer this to a much more suitable container than this bag. So that's it. The first component of what I'm going to make, which we will get into later. See it. Okay, so the aluminum powder has arrived. I ordered 6 pounds of it. Interestingly, it came in 3 2-pound bags. Not sure why. I suspect it's because aluminum powder can be somewhat of a problem. It is a pretty good fuel, and if dispersed in air, can be explosive. So we don't plan on doing that here. I picked this particular bag to open. You may notice, see here, I wrote on it leak. That's only because while the heat seal here is intact, nothing's leaking out of it. The Ziploc is open, which means that there's aluminum powder between the Ziploc and the heat seal here. I shook it down as much as I could. Some of it might escape. It's not going to be a problem. It's not particularly toxic. It can be explosive if dispersed in air in enough quantities. I don't intend to do that. I am going to weigh out some of this along with some iron oxide 3 to make a compound which we'll get into later of what that is for and how it works. Not particularly dangerous, although one does have to be careful. So I'm going to extinguish all flammable and cut this open. As I've said before, these are set up to be torn. I don't like that. It often makes a mess. Let's open this up. Much as to be expected, a grayish sort of powder. Very, 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 very fine. It's dust. That is aluminum. This stuff, if allowed to dust the air, could be quite a hazard. I'm going to close this for the moment until I weigh some out. I'm not going to use a dust mask or anything. I don't plan on. There's pretty good airflow through here anyway. I don't plan on kicking up a lot of dust from this to do this. So, for my purposes, I'm going to weigh out a half a pound of this, and I'm going to add it to 1 pound of iron oxide, Fe3O2 or 203. You look it up. I'm going to scale there with a weigh boat in it, which is just an aluminum tin. Into that I'm going to weigh out 1/2 pound of aluminum dust, and to that I'm going to add 1 pound. It'll give me a 2-to-1 ratio, iron to aluminum. Everything I've read, it seems to be pretty close to that, to optimum. I've seen also all the way up to 3 parts iron oxide to 1 part aluminum. And I may yet dilute it to that, but I'm going to start with 2 parts iron oxide to 1 part aluminum. So, and it's going to be a very small batch just for testing. So, let's weigh out. Actually got to plug the scale in, otherwise the numbers don't come on. Let's see, we are in pounds and ounces. That'll work. So I want to weigh out 1/2 pound of aluminum. .2 ounces. 0.6. Almost a 1/2 pound. That's 4.8. Getting there. 6. 6.6. 7.2. 7.6. 8 ounces. Okay, so that's a 1/2 pound of aluminum. About right. And seal this Ziploc as best as I can. Set that aside. And yep, 8 ounces of aluminum is about what it looks like. Set that off to the side. Now, I'm going to need 1 pound of iron oxide. It's interesting, this aluminum weigh boat hardly weighs anything. It's already teared out. So, excuse me while I clean my spoon here. This spoon on it. It says, I don't know if you can see that, Zappa Systems. How cool is that? Who doesn't like Zappa? Especially if he has a system. Okay, so here is a 5 pound bag of Fe2O3 rust. And I'm going to weigh out a full pound of that. It's going to take a bunch of scoops. A whole bunch of scoops. That's 7.4 ounces. No ways to go. Ooh, 9.8 ounces, so we're getting there. It's 11. Oh, geez, I just spilled. 12. 13. 14.2. It's getting there, so 14.6, 0.8. That's 15. 15.4. Just a little skosh more. 15.6. One pound even. Okay, close enough. Well, this doesn't feel any lighter. This bag, which is good. I'm going to make more of this. This is just a test batch. So these two ingredients, the aluminum powder and this iron, will be combined in here. A conductive a plate. Just dump the contents in. All of it. From both, well, almost all of it. Don't care about this. Is going to be disposed. One-time use. The aluminum powder as well added in, and will also be disposed of, as will this when I'm done. So this needs to be combined thoroughly. It does not do a whole lot of good to do this. What you really need is, I'm spilling it all over the place. What you really need is some a vessel to put it in, funnel it into, and turn it, which we will work out momentarily. Okay. Naturally, I forgot to put the camera back on during the mixing phase. It was not much to be missed anyway. Basically what I did was more or less folded the aluminum pie pan that the mixture was in, and just sort of dumped it into this plastic container. Nothing special about it. You see it in there. It looks geez, my wife will kill me if I spill this on there. It looks pretty much like just the iron oxide, the rust. A little surprised about that. I would have thought it lightened, with the addition of the aluminum, lightened the color. Again, this is a 2-to-1 mixture, iron oxide, 2 parts that to 1 part aluminum dust, and we'll try that. If that fails, I'll figure out why. I would suspect it would be because there's a bit more oxidizer and a bit too little fuel, but we'll see. That's where we are now. Basically, just emptied the contents of that pie pan rather, into here, and just give it a, rotation, little agitation. Don't worry about static electricity. Any little that might evolve. For one thing, both of these materials are electrically conductive. As you can see, the whole entire, this is clear plastic, and the rust dust has completely coated it on the inside. Looks like a prescription bottle color, light brown, reddish. So that's the deal. As soon as I get a hold of something hot enough to ignite this, or some of it, I'm not going to ignite all of that at once. Small steps. We'll see how that works. I may divide this into 2 pieces, 2 parts, and in the other half make it a 3-to-1 mixture, or I'm sorry, 2-to-1 mixture, 3-to-1 mixture. Try different things. Oh my gosh, there's all kinds of information on the internet, as you know. Much of it just a bunch of bull crap. But one way or another, we're going to make this work. That's why I bought the quantities I did. I'm not planning to do anything but demonstrate it. I don't need to weld anything. I'm curious about this stuff. There are hazards, and we'll get into that as this progresses. See it.